Hi there and welcome to Real Talk Fitness with ANPT. I am your host, Ashleigh Cumins, owner of ANPT. Whether you're a fitness newbie, a seasoned pro, or someone just trying to find their groove, we're here to talk about the wins, the struggles, and everything in between. Today's episode is all about fitness goals. Why they matter, why so many of us struggle to stick with them, and most importantly, how you can set yourself up for success. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. As we're coming to the end of the year and getting to the start of next year, everybody seems to be highly motivated and just have all these brilliant ideas and all these goals, but yet when we're sitting in December next year, a good 92% of us haven't actually followed through. It's really quite interesting. I brought up some stats before that approximately 92% of people fail to reach their goals. So some common things that pop up is lack of being specific, which is really common in all of the fitness consultations I've ever done. I just want to lose weight or I just want to tone up. You're not being specific in what it is you want to achieve. A lot of people set unrealistic objectives, so setting unattainable goals that, in an ideal world, yes, you'd be able to achieve them, but as life happens, it often seems to be that they're never ever going to get there. So once they lose that bit of momentum, they just throw all their goals out the window. Shifting focus, this is really interesting, from reward to effort. So a lot of people have this brilliant idea of a goal. When they realize the effort that they need to put in to achieve that goal, they just get decreased motivation and give up. Fear of failure. This is one that I am going to talk about a lot today because it comes down to your self-worth and your self-belief. There is a little bit more psychology behind this, which I find really interesting, and hopefully today you can take some things away from that. Lack of commitment is another reason for people not achieving their goals. Procrastination, big one. Lack of accountability. So who's going to hold you to this goal when the fear of failing or when your motivation goes? Who's going to bring you back to, why did you set this goal? Why does it matter? Accountability is a big one. An undefined why factor. Again, I believe this has a lot to do with the human psychology. There is more to your goal 90% of the time than just the first answer you give me. So if I was to ask you what your goal was, you say lose weight. Then I say why, because I want to feel better. There is more to that. There is always this principle of 5 whys to the real deep reason. When you find that real deep reason of why you want to achieve it, that's going to hold some weight in keeping you accountable to get there because it's meaningful. Let's talk about why goals matter. Why do we even bother setting goals if 92% of people don't achieve their goals? Why bother? Setting goals isn't just about being better or doing better. There's a huge psychology behind it, which I spoke about just before. There's different goals, different hacks on how to get there. And obviously there is a massive dopamine release in the brain when you achieve your goals. So that dopamine feeling of feel good is then going to spiral you to your next goal and get better and better from there. Understanding the psychology of goal setting, you can hack your brain's natural tendencies to work for you and not against you. What we'll talk about a little bit more as this episode goes on is the psychology of goals, how setting goals influences our brain and behavior, the concept of dopamine and the hits of the small wins. The benefits of goal setting. So not only does it provide direction and focus, it can improve your motivation and accountability. An example, and I like to use metaphors a lot. Those that get trained by me generally hear a lot of my funny metaphors. I do believe that hearing it in a different way sometimes can hit a little different. Think of your goals as a GPS for your life. Without it, you're driving aimlessly. So just think about that. I'll say it again. Think of your goals as a GPS for your life. Without it, you're driving aimlessly. Different types of goals. When I do a goal setting or when someone brings up different goals that they want to achieve, there is 3 different ways that we break this down. So outcome goals. The big one that falls under this is weight loss. So your desired outcome is losing 10 kilos. So that is a outcome goal. Process goal. This is the habits. An example of a process goal, I want to bench 5 kilos heavier than I did at the start of the year. We then look at the process to achieve that. Example, you will need to do bench press at least 3 times a week, as an example. So that is a process goal. Performance goal is very specific. I want to run 5Ks in under 30 minutes. An example of how we'll get there is we're going to test our 5K run every month for time. Then focus on the consistency of doing what needs to be done over and over to increase or decrease that time. Have you ever set a goal and afterwards felt you had more direction, more motivated, but then something happens and you lose these things? This often happens when we don't track our progress or we don't create some form of accountability. All of that aside, say you are really good at setting goals and you're often really motivated and you kind of ask yourself, why do I not achieve my goals? At the end of every year, every goal that I set out, I constantly do not achieve. Why is this? Procrastination and fear of failure are the 2 biggest obstacles to achieving your goals. Why do these happen? Perfectionism. Fear of not being perfect leads to people not even trying. Being overwhelmed. They set a goal knowing that it is achievable, but the thought of it overwhelms them. So it's easier to not even start at all. Lack of clarity. This brings me back to that why. Unclear goals or the next step can result in no action. Fear of failure is a massive one. The psychological things behind that, I find fear of judgment or embarrassment if you don't achieve it, associating failing at something as you're not good enough, and past negative experiences with setting goals and failing. That often even deters people from not even setting anything ever again. If you're going to set goals for 2025, with everything that I've just said in regards to why we struggle to achieve our goals, let's reframe failure as the end point. Shift your mindset. Instead of seeing failure as an end point, view it as feedback. Each time you fail provides you valuable information about what didn't work. You can take that and look at it and go, okay, what can I do differently to get me closer to my goals? Self-worth. Often when we fail, we feel inadequate. But recognizing that failure doesn't mean you are a failure. It's part of the growth. Even the most successful people fail regularly. Now, everybody knows this. Thomas Edison had many attempts of inventing the light bulb. I'm sure he failed many, many times before he succeeded. Every time that we fail or we don't achieve what it is we're setting out to achieve, we need to reflect and learn from that. It isn't at the end. So after a little setback, what did you learn from this? What can I do differently next time? And get up and try again. The other thing is a lot of people speak so negative and harshly to themselves. So the way you speak to yourself, you would never speak to anybody else like that. So why are you speaking to yourself like that? Speak to yourself as if you would be speaking to a friend that you're trying to encourage. You're probably wondering now exactly how and why you should set goals. The benefits of goal setting provide you direction and focus, improves your motivation and accountability. Now, if you're already thinking of your goals for 2025, there is a few things that I want you to think about. Be clear. Be really clear on what it is that you want and why you want it. This doesn't have to be fitness related. This can be personal growth. This could be finances. This could be experiences. Whatever it might be, think about why. Why is it that you want this? When your why is big enough, the how will happen. Our brains are hardwired to respond to progress. I believe if you are setting a big goal, break it into small achievements. If you want to lose 30 kilos by the end of the year, rather than being overwhelmed with 30 kilos being a huge number and that you may have some setbacks, and the fear of that makes you think, oh, I'm not even going to try. It's too far away. Break it up. By 3 months of the year, I need to be X amount of kilos down. So by the end of the month, I need to be X amount of kilos down. And to do this, I need to drink more water. I need to be prepared with my meals. So focus on the drink more water and being prepared with meals, and focus on your why. The results will come. When you achieve those small goals, there is a feedback loop. Progress releases dopamine. Dopamine increases your motivation. Then this leads to more progress. This loop reinforces your behavior, making it easier to stay consistent, to keep chipping away at our goals. Another example, I want to be able to, my example, bench more than 65 kilos. So my small goals would be showing up to each session, each week, giving 100% of what I can, being consistent. How would I make sure I'm accountable to that? Is to record it, track my progress, see how I'm going over the month. Each session, there might be some sessions that might be a little bit of a setback. But overall, from the start of the month to the end of the month, I've had an increase. I can't base my feelings or base my success on one failed session. It's not a failure. What did I learn from that? What can I change from that? Did I not eat enough? Did I eat crappy? Did I have a poor sleep? Was these factors that resulted in that session not being as good as it could be? Did that one session put my progress back? No. If I had multiple sessions like that, yes. We need to set these goals or desires that we have into smaller goals. Then start to look at the habits you need to create for those goals. Getting back to that why, if the why is big enough, these hows will happen. Now, life throws curveballs all the time. Things aren't always, linear from A to B. Things might change. Things will happen. We need to learn to be flexible within reason. So don't be that flexible and blasé that you're like, I'll do it next month. We all know that time is going to happen and it keeps happening regardless of what we do. So we may as well make the most of it. This means is a perfect opportunity for you to reflect on your past 12 months. What went well? What didn't? What can you improve in the next 12 months? What do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? Fitness, health, mindset. Why do you want to achieve this? Why is it important? How can I keep myself accountable? What are some ways I can reflect on my journey? What happens if I fail? What happens if you fail is you reflect. What did you learn from this? And you get up and you try again. Consistency is the key. So consistency will give you progress. If you are tracking or documenting your goals, that little bit of progress will give you a dopamine release. The dopamine of that feel-good hormone will give you that more motivation to do the next step and then the next step. And then when we're speaking this time in 12 months' time, you'll look back and you'll be like, I did it. It all came to understanding our brain and its natural tendencies. We want instant gratification for nothing. That's just humans. As human beings, we will do one little thing good and we want 10 pats on the back. We all know that goals don't work that way. Doesn't mean that our brain's not hardwired to think like that. I hope today's episode that you have learned some takeaways on how to make your brain work for you and not against you, the benefits of goal setting, the different ways of goal setting, how to help break your goals up to able to get that dopamine release, which will then increase your motivation, give you more progress, and move you guys more smoothly towards your goals. Also, I hope that the takeaway that you took from today is the reasons why people don't achieve their goals. As I said, stats are 92% of people fail to reach their goals for common reasons. And the biggest one, I believe, is your self-worth. If you believe you're worth it, you will at least give it a try. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Real Talk Fitness with ANPT. If there is one thing I want you to remember from today is you are worth it. Failure isn't the end. Goals are worth setting. Be kind to yourself. Speak to yourself as you would speak to others. So whether you're chasing a PR, working on your nutrition, or simply trying to stay consistent, Remember, this journey is yours and it makes it worth celebrating. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who might need a little extra motivation. You can follow me on Ashleigh Newburn's personal training for more tips, workouts, and inspirations. Thanks for joining me on episode 2 of Real Talk Fitness with ANPT. Keep lifting, keep moving, and most importantly, keep it real. Until next time.